Greetings, all praise the King. Welcome to Eyewitness, where Ras makes reason. Today, we're speaking of psychological violence. This is intimidation. The purpose is to steer people in a direction, mostly to deter people from certain behaviors. There are two distinct forms. There's hard intimidation. That's the police with their weapons. And there's soft intimidation. That could be in many forms. It's the way that people are programmed to respond. Much of this is pushed through the communication channels, sometimes referred to as la media, the false press. That is, those institutions that have interest in capital. We'll hear stories about Guantanamo Bay, or maybe there'll be a Hollywood, movie about the CIA dropping someone into the jungle from a plane. These events serve to train people to fear man and man's way, the way of violence. If man could convince others without putting a gun to their head and still get his way, then he sees himself as blameless. Oh, they made the decision. Much of the pressure that's put upon people today is an attempt to deter people in one way towards the beast. The worship and service declared. This pressure comes in various forms. It could be economic, it could be a cultural pressure, sometimes referred to as peer pressure. Even the people that claim to uphold individualism, are really collectives. They follow each other. That's why if you go to those regions that happen to vote this way or that way, that most people will be alike. So, people are afraid to go against what they think has power. And because they only see with their eyes, this is the power they know. The power of violence. Historical assassinations has caused people to think twice about speaking against injustice. Could the man come over this fence, cut my throat, and get away? You better believe it. Is the man going to do this? Maybe. But the man would rather see you go to his side or to go crazy. If the man could drive you to insanity, then he may now discredit anything you ever said. That's part of this labeling. Another form of soft violence. When you label somebody, you are turning others against them. You're under attack. You depend on others for survival because you do not have the natural resources abundant to you to survive alone, because you have been driven to the corners. Again, when people are opposed to your actions, it forms the circumstances of intimidation. People are raised to learn to appease others. And so this becomes a natural tendency. When they fail at this object, they may be discouraged. And this discouragement will now take them to another place of decision. To follow in the footsteps of man. Man looks to sell his stuff. The more people that buy, the more power he possesses. This stuff is in the form of a rule that benefits this man and sustains his extravagant lifestyle. If man convinces others underneath that he is worthy of his hire, then they will pay up to him. This is a more convenient way for man to operate. If man decided that every person that said something that took power away from him were to be killed, then his indecencies would become exposed much quicker than otherwise. Man obtains more productivity when those subordinates agree with his way. Man has become an expert at selling a lie. This is a fabrication. Man has designed through his mechanism of rule to his erection of structure. Man has made others look upon him with fear. Look at the power disciples that told Christ of the magnificence of the temples in which the Christ was not pleased. But these structures have a way of pulling people to worship in the form of, if something is wrong, people will not say anything because they are afraid of the power of man. How easy is it for someone to criticize a poor, desperate person? And how difficult is it for someone to criticize a rich and prominent official? They're both men. One of them got it easy, and the form of his life is more convenient. He doesn't struggle. And yet, he's the one that gets off the hook, because he has inflicted psychological violence having a crowd behind you has a psychological effect of power, that if this video were to take place in a auditorium with a crowd behind myself, that my words may seem more compelling. People are afraid to go against the group, more afraid than an individual in most circumstances. When Ross first started doing YouTube videos, it was like, should this be done? As soon as the video's put out, a whole bunch of people are going to see it. People in this thing. It's not the case. Instead, the videos are hidden from view, which actually is an advantage, because it demonstrates your willingness to speak truth, that not are you provided an incentive to do so. Could the man jump out from behind the fence, cut my throat? Probably. Most definitely. Would he get away? But yet, where would that get him? Man is seeking to confute you, to take you away from the truth and towards his false, dying God. And he is using psychology to try to convince you that your efforts are in vain. A soft, almost fluid sense of psychological violence. Yeah. So there are varying grades depending on what culture is under attack. Some cultures are strong, resistant to the wicked ways of man. These cultures are attacked hardly. Physical war. Because they're not going to be bought or sold. Other cultures have been consumed with their cares of the world, as the Christ states. The vine has choked their souls. And so a hard form of violence may awaken them to the realities, because they are living in a lie. So soft forms are necessary to these conditions, so as to go undetected. When people are consumed, they have so much information coming, they are unable to sort it. And more information is discarded. It's seen as waste and not even absorbed, because of all the information they already have coming at them. Another form of soft violence, communication channels. So, to win the war, first you must know to defend yourselves, and you must be aware of what you are defending against. Who are the attackers and what are their methods? Next, you may use your weaponry against them. For when you are under attack, if you're being beat bad enough, you're going to find the bottle. You're going to find the bottle. It don't matter who you are. You know you've got a choice. Either you just get beat bloody, or you find that peace. Now there's a push to crack down on words. Certain people shouldn't be saying certain words. It's coming from the same sources that say that they want a democracy, free from dictatorship. And now they're saying, no, you can't go speak on a campus. No, you can't go say these things. They don't tell you what you can't say. Once they get you in that situation, they're inflicting their violence on you. It's a hard form, but it's perceived as soft because most people haven't been through it. And most people don't spend their mornings making YouTube videos to explain how they're under attack. So they've never had the experience to have to go through it to know what it feels like. So therefore, the hard form of violence, by being arrested and imprisoned and put through the process to attempt to humiliate you, to serve man, is perceived as soft. The occurrences in other places of the globe have demonstrated an outlook that is hard in other places. It's not so hard here. Another form of soft violence, branding, to convince others it may be bad, but it could be worse. This is how man sells his stuff. So, bottom line, we are being told what to think, what to say, and what to do. And if we do not comply, we may be